Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Well, this week got off to a great start. We had the national championship basketball games that started on Sunday with South Carolina knocking off Iowa to claim their third championship under head coach Don Staley. Then on Monday night, UConn completed their back-to-back championship run by defeating number one seed Purdue, led by big man Zach Edey, the two-time National Player of the Year. So when you think about all the things that took place during the week, the aftermath is very important because after all the receipts are taken in, then you start to pay attention to what's going on really behind the scenes with the sport. And by that I mean coaches are moving around. There's money being paid out. All kind of things taking place. And the big thing that's taking place right now, you have NIL. Players have to make a decision. Should I stay to make NIL money? Or do I throw it all away or go to the pros and try my luck there? Well, here's a twist for you. Zach Edey, again, the National Player of the Year 2 years running, he's from Canada. And that is a big problem financially for Edey because they have a stipulation where he cannot make any NIL money because he's not an American citizen. So he's not making the money that a lot of lesser players are making. He's making zero on that end. The only NIL related money Zach Edey is getting is the sports gear that's related to his name that is sold back in his home country of Canada or anywhere else. Other than that, he's not getting a penny. And he spoke out recently about that, saying that he hopes that they change the rule because he's lost a lot of money. And he has. He knows it's too late for him, but this is a loophole that needs to be changed. But he wanted to come back to college to try to win a championship, and he got whispered close to it. And that is a move that he made to play with his teammates and not necessarily financially motivated. Because if it's all money, he went to the pros last year. But if you look at players like, say, Angel Reese, she has the same decision to make, except that she has decided to go pro. She's going to forego all the NIL money she's making and take it to the WNBA, where she's only going to get a fraction of the NIL money that she's been making, salary-wise. Now, as far as the endorsements and anything else, that's still up in the air about what she could get. But the problem is she's starting over. She's not going to walk in as a star. She's going to have to earn her keep. And if she's still up to par, then she'll be able to make that money. But there's no guarantee. These companies are fickle and, here today, gone tomorrow when it comes to these athletes. So I made the comment that it was a questionable decision. I think most players, if you're going to make a small amount of money in the WNBA, financially it doesn't make sense to go to the WNBA if you're making a whole lot of NIL money like an Angel Reese. Now, I've gotten some flack from that. People are calling me pocket watching and I should mind my own business. But let me tell you something, man. I could care less about how much money she makes. LeBron James, Elon Musk, anybody else all combined, I could care less. It's not my money, so I could care less. But the thing is, this is a sports interest story. NIL is all over the place, and it's going to become bigger as the days go on. So everybody in the sports world are talking about it, so why is it that I got to mind my business? I can't talk about what's going on in the world. You're not going to shut me up. I don't care who you are. And I'm going to tell you something else. The average person in that situation will look, hey, I'm making $2 million now, and NIL is paying me that, and I go to the WNBA. I think the highest salary there, $300,000-$400,000 for the best players. I'm a rookie. I'm not guaranteed to make that. I might come in as a rookie contract. I might make $75,000. Let's just say $200,000. Even if you got the $400,000, that's nowhere close to the $2 million. You could stay another year in college and make the same thing. Then you're already set. So it doesn't matter how much money the WNBA pays. Then you can go and show if you were able to play on that level. But to walk away from that money, it is a risky gamble because nobody is guaranteed to make anything. Injuries are always a possibility. And there's just so many question marks. I hope for the best. Hope she has the best. But again, pocket watching and all that, I don't care about what other people make. It's no concern of mine. The only reason I'm talking about this issue is because it is related to sports, and this is what's going on in sports today. That's it. Now, speaking of coaching changes, last week, the University of Kentucky, they had said that they were going to bring back Calipari, but it looked like Calipari had his own ideas. He's been negotiating with the University of Arkansas. They really want this guy bad, and they've been working under the table trying to get him. Apparently, he has a lot of friends over in Fayetteville, and they wanted to see him come up there and coach that team. As far as Kentucky goes, a lot of people have been rumbling for a few years now about Calipari, and they've been wanting to see a change. But as good a coach as Calipari is, you don't want to rush a guy like that out the door that can win. But he said himself it was time for a change. Well, he won over 400 and lost just a tad over 100 games in his 15 years, which is what? About 80%? So you cannot shy away at the success he had in Kentucky. But I don't care who you are. If you stay too long, you're going to overstay your welcome. And he got the feeling that, this is probably time to go. He's hearing everything that's being said, and he knows what's going on. So I think it's a great move. But here's the thing. I'm glad I waited to talk to you today because earlier I did not know what was taking place. But since then, I have learned that UConn the UConn coach has been offered the head coaching job to Kentucky. And get this, $11 million a year for a 5 to 7 year period. He's only making $5 million now at UConn. He said he was happy at UConn before he won the championship. But what more can you do at one spot? You won 2 championships. Everybody else going to be nipping at your heels. It might be worth it to take a look at another program like Kentucky. But when you come out with doubling his salary, it's going to be hard for Hurley to turn that kind of money down. I don't care what he says. I've heard coaches say, well, I'm happy where I am and nothing can make me move. And then 2 days later, they make the announcement to the world talking about what they're going to do. He's been talking with these people all along, so this is nothing new. And get this, Kentucky says if UConn matches it, they're going to up the offer. So expect in the next couple of days Hurley to announce that he's the new coach of the University of Kentucky. Now, the other coach I have to mention is the all-time winningest coach, Tara Vanderveer. She has decided to retire from Stanford after 45 years in the profession. Vanderveer won 3 championships at Stanford, so she's a very well-respected and a great coach by all aspects of what people consider as a great coach. And I found out recently that she's 70 years old. I didn't realize she was that old. But she still has the energy to do the job, so I figured she can hang around for a couple more years. But she's decided to hang it up, and she's going to be apparently replaced by a longtime assistant and former player, Kate Pate. I think that's her name, Kate Pate. She's going to take over at Stanford. So with Calipari leaving, it's rumored that Kentucky wants Hurley real bad, and that leaves who could possibly replace Hurley at UConn. Now, another thing to consider for Hurley at UConn is all the changes with this conference realignment stuff. That seems to be changing by the day. But what's going to end up happening is those 2 super conferences, I'm telling you right now, a lot of those people are going to run over there to join with everybody else, and then they're going to start winning, and then the fan base is going to start looking at them, hey, we used to winning. We were winning over here. Why would we need to come over here to start winning? And then you're going to see that a lot of those teams that ran over here or ran over there, they're going to run right back where they came from. Look at Colorado. They started out in the Big 8, and that turned into the Big 12. Then they ran over to the Pac-12. Now they run back to the Big 12, back where they belong. That's the same thing that's going to happen, especially when you have Washington State and Oregon State holding that big money purse out there in the Pac-12 of what's left of it. So you know people are going to try to join in and get their hands on that. They got 2 years to figure out what it is they're going to do. Now, as far as Calipari and Hurley and all these other coaches, the big thing is they make all these bonus money on the side. They have all these little stipulations in their contract. And a big part of that is if you win a national championship. But note the disparity in pay here. Don Staley, who won her third national championship, received $680,000 in bonus money for all the different incentives that she had on her contract. By contrast, Hurley, he has $1.8 million in incentives. Rick Barnes, he didn't even win the championship. He's well over $1 million, and these high bonuses just don't seem to stop. And with Calipari out and Hurley being offered a doubling of his salary by the University of Kentucky, not only are the NIL and players going to explode even more, so too will the coaches' salaries. So I got to be keeping up with this. This is some very interesting information. You got to wonder, does anybody care about academics anymore? Don't seem that way. Something to think about. This is Sports for Real.